Before we wrap up, we have some picks for the Week 11 slate in college football. And let's start things off with the biggest game of the weekend. In the Big 12, number 7 BYU at number 8 Texas Tech. Texas Tech is 10.5-point home favorites with an over-under of 52.5 points. Braden, who do you like here?
I like the Red Raiders in this one. I think they cover the spread as well. This is a game that I don't know if it would say I'd say it's like a trap game, but it's a game where I think things are going to start to correct a little bit. BYU has gotten by the skin of their teeth way too many times this year. They beat Colorado by 3 points. They beat Arizona by 6 in overtime. They beat Utah by 3. A game against Iowa State came down to the wire. Maybe not down to the wire, but down to the last 10 or so minutes. Texas Tech has been, other than the Arizona State game where Sam Levitt was back, they've been beating the brakes off of pretty much everybody. I mean, they had a 24-point win at Utah. They beat Houston by 24 early in the year when Houston was starting to kind of get rolling. They beat Kansas State last week, who has had a disappointing year, but is still a good team on paper, by 23. And that was just complete domination in the second half. With Baron Morton back now from injury, I think this Red Raiders team is just going to go wild. He and Jacoby Williams are going to probably put up, I would think, 350 yards combined between the two of them. BYU's defense is the strength of this team, but Texas Tech is going to be able to hold the BYU offense enough. So I think if I'm going final score here, I'm going to say Texas Tech 31, BYU 14.
And it is worth noting, too, that Texas Tech's only loss was with their backup quarterback. These are two of the top 3 rushing offenses in the Big 12, 2 of the 3 highest scoring offenses in the conference as well, with Texas Tech averaging a touchdown more per game. They're averaging 43.6 points per game, which is just stupid. BYU's running back, LJ Martin, is expected to be back. He suffered an injury in that last game against Iowa State. He's the Big 12's leading rusher with 789 yards on the year. They will definitely need him because you don't want to have to rely on a true freshman quarterback and Bear Bachmeier to win a game like this on his own. I think the deciding factor for me in this game is going to be the defenses. You mentioned the defense for BYU is the strength of their team, but Texas Tech defense has been elite. 71.3 yards per game allowed is the best in the conference, as is their 13.2 points per game allowed. Both of those metrics are top 10 in the country. They're 12th in the country as well in sacks, averaging over 3 a game. David Bailey is probably the best pass rusher in the country. He's got 11.5 sacks so far. The game is in Texas. It's an 11 a.m. local kickoff. I'll take Texas Tech to win. I will take BYU to narrowly cover the 10.5 point spread, and then the under to just narrowly hit as well at 52.5 in a 31-21 Red Raiders win. And I'm curious to see as well how each of these teams would move in next week's playoff rankings, because this would be Texas Tech's second loss. It would be BYU's first loss, but I'm curious to see how far either team would drop with a loss in this game. Next up on the docket, a Big Ten battle. We've brought it up a couple times now. Number 9, Oregon at number 20, Iowa. Oregon is 6.5-point road favorites with an over-under of 40.5. So brace yourselves. Braden, who do you like here?
I'm going to go with the Ducks in this one. I think they win outright. I'm going to say they cover the spread as well. It's one that I don't love. 6.5 is always a tricky number, especially when the team favored is the team on the road. With Oregon here, their defense has been phenomenal this year. They allow just 3.3 yards per carry this year, and Iowa is heavily predicated on running the football. Oregon's offense needs to show up a lot better than it did last week. Dante Moore was 9 of 15 passing for 86 yards. That cannot happen again if Ducks want to win this one. Oregon had 335 yards as a team. Really just did not look like themselves. Had 7 first half points against the Badgers, who have been horrendous on both sides of the ball this year. I think Iowa beat them like 37-0 or something like that. Good sign for the Hawkeyes from a common opponent standpoint. But I think the Ducks are just a more talented team. I think that if they get a lead, it's going to be hard for Mark Gronowski and the Hawkeye offense to throw the ball to catch up. So I'm going to say the Ducks win this one and cover. I think we're in for a low-scoring affair. I'm going to say Oregon wins this one by a score of 24-14.
And yeah, as we mentioned, both teams control their own destiny in this one. Both have a lot to prove. The reason the over-under is at 40.5 is because these are 2 of the top 4 defenses in the country in yards allowed per game. Also 2 of the top 6 in points per game allowed. I think Iowa is going to have to play maybe the best game they've played in the last several years to win this game. As good as their defense has been, their offense is 14th in the Big Ten. They're scoring over 29 points per game, in large part due to their defense forcing turnovers and setting them up in good field position. They just put up 41 on the Gophers in what was the worst game of the PJ Fleck era in Minnesota, where they had a pick six and a punt return touchdown. I don't see the Oregon offense giving the Iowa defense those kinds of opportunities. They're averaging over 41 points per game and damn near 500 yards of offense per game. They're also coming off a bye. I think this is going to be a pretty big letdown for Iowa. Sorry, Ben. I will take Oregon to win and cover the 6.5, and I'll take the under in a 27-10 victory for Oregon. Next up, we've got number 3 Texas A&M at number 22 Missouri. Texas A&M 6.5-point favorites with an over/under of 47.5. Braden, who do you like?
Yeah, both these teams have had very good defenses for most of the year. A&M's has been a little bit more sporadically inconsistent. Missouri's been pretty good defensively, both for the entirety of the season. I think going into the Vanderbilt game, they were top 10 in both offense and defense. I think that was total defense and total offense. I'm not entirely sure. Could have been points per game, but I think it's going to be tough for Missouri to score this week with Bo Prabula out for the year. It's going to be Matt Zollers, the freshman quarterback, leading the charge. I don't love that his first start is going to come against a very good coach in Mike Elko on the defensive side of the ball and a very good Texas A&M defense. I think this game is going to be fairly low scoring. I think Missouri's defense is going to show up. I mean, they just played a 17-10 game against Vanderbilt. I think we're in line for something similar, maybe a little bit higher scoring. So I'm going to say A&M wins this one. I'm going to say Missouri covers. I think they keep it close because of that defense. I'm going to go with a final score of 20-16 Texas A&M.
Yeah, both teams coming off a bye. You mentioned Mizzou is going to have their freshman quarterback. He played pretty well against Vanderbilt after Bo Prabula went down. He was 14 of 23, passing 138 yards and a touchdown. But as you mentioned, this A&M defense is pretty damn good. They just held LSU to under 300 yards in a night game in Death Valley. They also got Garrett Nussmeier to get sent to the bench. Mizzou is going to need a lot of Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts doing damage on the ground. This is the best rushing offense in the SEC with 235.5 rush yards per game, 5.2 yards per carry as a team. Mizzou also has the best defense in the SEC, allowing under 250 yards per game. Particularly, they are phenomenal on the ground or stopping the ground game, giving up 90.4 rush yards per game. They have two of the best pass rushers in the SEC, and Damon Wilson and Zion Young. So if A&M is going to win this game, I think it's going to be because of Marcel Reed making plays with his arm. The Mizzou secondary has not been nearly on the same level as their front seven has. So I expect big games out of Mario Craver and KC Concepcion. A&M has looked like the number 3 team in the country this year. I'm not going to pick against them coming off a bye and against a backup quarterback making his first collegiate start. So I will take A&M to win. I think they cover the 6.5 points. I will take the under at 47.5, and I'm going to say 30-17 in favor of the Aggies. And then the last game on the docket, LSU taking on number 4 Alabama in Alabama. The Tide are 9.5-point home favorites with an over/under of 49.5 points. Braden, who do you like?
I'm curious to see how much the interim coach bump hits LSU this week. It seems like I've seen a lot of players celebrate Brian Kelly being fired all over social media. So maybe they have something they're more excited to play for now. I don't remember who the interim coach is, but seems like he can't be a worse guy than Brian Kelly at the very least. So with the Tigers, obviously they're a very talented team on paper, have drastically underachieved this year. Got slaughtered by A&M in the second half in Brian Kelly's last game there. So I think they probably are going to come out with a little bit of fire early on. I don't think they're a drastic step down from Alabama talent-wise. So I'm going to go Bama wins this one, but I think it's close. I'm going to say Alabama 33, LSU 31.
As an Alabama fan, the last month and a half has just been pure anxiety and fear. 4 straight ranked games, a nail-biter against South Carolina, and now an LSU team that seemingly has nothing to lose and an interim head coach. I would much rather have Brian Kelly be coaching this game for LSU than Frank Wilson, their interim coach. LSU's offensive struggles have really been the story of the season. This was my preseason SEC champion. Garrett Nussmeier was my Heisman runner-up. They're averaging 355 yards of offense per game. That is 93rd in the country. They now have to take on a red-hot Alabama team that has a top 25 defense, a top 12 pass defense, and they are number 6 in the country in turnover margin. That doesn't sound like a recipe for success, but how is the offense going to look with a new play caller and a new coaching staff? For as good as Alabama has been throwing the ball, they cannot run the ball to save their lives. They have the third fewest rushing yards per game in the SEC. The only teams with fewer are South Carolina and LSU. LSU picked off Marcel Reed twice in that game against A&M. It didn't matter in the slightest. But Ty Simpson has only thrown one interception all year. So I think if LSU can force a turnover or two, that's going to be something that's going to keep them in this game and give them a chance to upset. I think this will come down to which team can run the ball better. I mentioned the rushing struggles for both sides. Both teams are coming off a bye, so we'll see what they were able to scheme up in the off week. I'm going to take Alabama to win. I'm with you, though. I think LSU is going to keep it close. I think they're going to come out fired up. So I will take them to cover the 9.5 points. And I think the over at 49.5 points will hit as well in a 31-24 victory for Alabama.